Thank you, Kimberly Horn, for being part
I
of
know.
our Morning Mojo.
Oh no, I got a little extra information too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good to get a little intel, right?
It is. You'll have to snap me a picture of that just so I can kind of have it on my little
Yeah.
picture.
Well,
That's really
Kimberly,
cool.
for those of you that don't know Kimberly, you probably all do. Yeah, there's a few guests and there's a few newer people on. Kimberly and I have been worked together for many, many years, and we've both been in the team leadership of Keller Williams forever. So, can you give a little backstory on you
Sure.
for those
Yeah.
that don't know
No,
you?
that's true. Yeah, absolutely. So I've been team leader for just under 11 years, or right at 11 years. And I was in the Tampa office. I was Jessica in Tampa till about a month ago, and I've transitioned out of the role. I've been a MAPS coach for 4 years, still doing that. I'm a bold coach. I also have a team now in the Tampa area, and have a consulting company I'm starting. So, and I'm intertwined with KW, like in out. I've got 3 kids and a husband who loves to travel. So, well, loves to travel or work takes me places. Yeah, anyway, so I know a lot of your faces, and some of your faces I don't know. So I've been teaching, I offered this, I popped something up on the, well, Jess and I are good friends. And so she's like, do you want to come to Mojo? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Mojo sounds fun. And I've been teaching this one little piece to a lot of agents. So I'm going to just share it with you guys. We've got 23 minutes to do it, and I can talk fast, yet get your notebook out and be ready to participate if that's good. Sound good?
Yep.
Awesome. So how many guys, January 2020, like Jess, I know Jess is big in this, she gets your 135 or your GPS, whatever you want to call it. And you've written out like 2020, this is my decade. I'm going to knock 2020 out of the park. You wrote all that stuff down, right? Yeah. Then March happened, right? Wham. Like, what
Yeah.
happened? Now,
That's
one
what I
really
think
can
about.
predict this. Like literally we have these conversations. If somebody would have said, this was going to happen, we would have probably stopped talking to that person because we would have thought they're crazy people, right? And
Mhm.
yet March happened, and you heard words like pivot and shift and all this stuff. And I know you guys are tired of hearing that word. So I was I was listening to an interview. You guys heard of Gene Rivers?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I
So
love
Gene,
them.
yeah, I love it. Who is up here in the corner? Donna. Donna was like, you're like me. Gene Rivers, I love him. Right. Gene starts talking, and I keep my mouth shut, and I just start taking notes left, right, and this. And so he said, listen, the agent of today needs 3 very specific things. So I'm going to start with those 3 things first, and then I'm going to move to the agent success path. The first thing he said is, guys, it's time to get realistic in our pipeline. We need to shake the pipeline up and find out what's really there so that we can rebuild the pipeline. He goes, it doesn't need to be with, I think they might buy. They mentioned it in January. No, shake up the pipeline, get it cleaned out so you know what you need to rebuild it to. He goes, so people who may not have wanted to sell in March because they were fearful might be ready at this point. People who
Right.
never knew they were going to sell at all may be ready to sell because they're realizing they can work from anywhere, and now they can go to their dream area, whatever it is. So shake up the pipeline and make it realistic, and then let's start rebuilding it. The second is, he goes, how are you guys truly finding the unmet database? You got to tap into the unmet. So he gave some great numbers. And he said, listen, Facebook was the largest social media platform and has been 2 billion users in Facebook. He goes, you got to get on Facebook, Instagram. He goes, now YouTube is that untapped place right now. Now I know Jess is big in YouTube, and I think that's amazing. Yet pre-COVID, it was a 1 billion user base. Just since COVID, it's now topping where Facebook is at 2 billion. And there's one
Wow.
thing, yeah, doubled. He said there's one thing that YouTube has been searched the most. Matter of fact, it's been a 70% increase from in the last 4 or 5 months before COVID. Now we all got projects at home. We all doing new things. What do you think has been searched on YouTube 70% more since COVID has started?
How to grow plants.
How to do anything, right? It's a how-to piece, right? 2 billion users, 70% increase. This is where the market is. He says, okay, agents, you need to be making videos that are how to buy safely in the era of COVID, how to sell safely in the era of COVID. Anything that would deal with the transaction that the consumer would be worried about and would want information on. Now, I'm going to put a little caveat on this as well. This is not what Gene says. This is Kimberly, so take it for what it's worth. When I go to look for a how-to video, I see the ones that are 20 minutes and I see the ones that are 2 minutes. Which one do you think I click on first?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Ain't nobody got time for 20 minutes. So get it in a bullet point kind of thing. If you want to point them to something more in depth, that's fine. That's a call to action for you. So get those videos out. And so the secret of, and I know you see me and Jess on video a lot, or some of you would see me if I was, if you're following me. Yet, guys, the way you look and the way you sound on video or in person looks the same on video. So get over yourself. It's not going to change. Just get on video and start practicing that piece there.
Kristen, I see you smiling because she's been doing a lot of video and she's so pretty. I'm like, just be you. You're gorgeous.
Yeah, and who cares how you say it? I mean, the only time I'm a one-take kind of video person. If it doesn't work out or I give misinformation, I retake it. If not, it is what it is, right? People love the real us. He said the third thing you need is systems and leverage. Depending on where your business is, it's systems and or leverage or both. Now, here's what I say. If you've got your systems in your head and nowhere else, it's a figment of your imagination. Guys, I was on one of these calls and I had a top agent. She says, Kimberly, when you said the word systems, you couldn't have spoke more to my heart than that. I've been in the hospital for 2 months. She goes, I'm the top agent. I've been in the business for 13 years. She said, I had 0 systems written down. My business was almost crippled because I thought that I had it all worked out. I was in control. I knew it all and no one else needed to know it. So systems and leverage. And here's the thing, guys, if you're truly increasing the energy of your business and what's going on and getting that snowball effect, you're going to need the systems in place. So you can say to the person that you've got to hire, hey, here you go. Here's my systems. Yep. Take it on.
Well, you know, one thing worth, I think, mentioning, Kimberly, is they could go to Connect and just search MREA Operations Manual, and every system of a real estate business is there. And I always suggest going there and using what's already there until you have something to trump it, because at least then you have a documented system. And you'll need to update it because you have your own quirks and things, but at least you have a foundation to work from.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. Because you can slide in things that you want to do, cross out things you never do. And it's an easy format to make it simple for you. 80% done, you put the other 20% in. So those are the 3 things that Jean encouraged us to do. So Jess, do I have capability of sharing my screen?
Here, I'll make you a co-host real quick.
Okay, perfect.
I got to figure out how to do that real quick. I've done it before. Let me see here.
If you go to the little share screen, it should say give multiple users ability to share. Just
I made you a co-host. Awesome. Good. You're good.
Even better. Now I get to feel like I'm in charge. I'm not. I just like to think I am.
Team leaders, we like to pretend that we're in charge.
I know. We like to pretend. You know, I gave up that team leader role. I only get to be in charge of a couple people these days, and they're in my household, which has been the same way ever since. Okay, guys, this is the agent success path. It's, of course, in a triangle because we're KW, and why would we not put everything in a triangle? So before we get into this, let me ask you a question. The original triangle is leads, listings, and leverage, right? Leads on the bottom, listings on the left, leverage on the right. Why do we put leads at the bottom of our triangle? What is the main reason for that?
They're the foundation of our business.
We need a lot of leads.
They're right on both parts. It's the foundation of our business. The same reason you'd never build a house on sand. It just wouldn't do it. So the foundation is always at the bottom, and we have to make sure that we have our foundation secure. So when you look at this thing, now I know we're using the word failing, and okay, just understand why. How many of you guys, you got your real estate license? You walked into the office and they said, hey, I'm so happy you're here. I tell you what, you show up from 9 to 5 every day. Whether or not you produce anything, we're going to pay you. Did anybody get that offer?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We don't get that offer because real estate is designed to be, it's a commission-based company. You can go to how far you want to go, as high as you want to go in the business. So every agent starts in a failing stage, right? They start with 0 money, 0 commission, and they're asking themselves one very distinct question, is the why question. Why did I choose to leave this thing to come to this thing? Why am I going to take on the risk of doing this piece here? And this is where the market center and your leadership and maybe other people in your world goes to the motivation. And they start asking you, well, why are you getting into real estate? You know, what's your big why? You've heard of that. What is the future self you want to see? So we start doing those kind of things there so that we can actually.
Well, eat the first one and then you.
Heather's got some babies. It's okay. So we asked the question of motivation, right, of that piece. Now, I believe the failing stage, whether you agree with me or not, this is my 11 years in leadership and in the business for over 16 years. is between the 0 and 6 transactions, to be honest with you, because between 0 and 6 transactions, you have still more questions than you have answers, and you're still learning. You're building the foundation. Now, once you finally learn what you figure out what you don't know, and you figure out you can learn that, you move to what we call the surviving phase. Now, here's where we get to we're asking very specific questions. We're asking how-to questions. How to do a listing presentation where I can have a better conversion rate. How to do a buyer presentation. How do I use command? How do I do, you get my point. It's the how-to questions. And that's where we start pointing people to the trainings and tools that are out there to kind of fill in those blanks. It's looking at that foundation and go, okay, now I know what I don't know, and I get to plug in those places in my foundation. Now, you'll see a very distinct line right here, this red line. I think the surviving is anywhere from the 6 transactions to probably 24 to 36 transactions. Here's where that E to P works out, where your natural ability kind of, you start to limit yourself, because not limit yourself in the way that you can't do more. It's just naturally you can only do so much at your current natural ability, okay? And down here is what we feel we have also, you'll see here on the left side, the 80-20 principle. 80% of our agents are gonna stay in this range. Now, you're probably thinking, Kimberly, I feel like my business is more than surviving. I think that I've got a very successful business. And yet you've mentioned I'm in this certain range. Guys, I'm not saying you don't have a successful business. If you like how much business you're doing, you like the life you have, the money you're making, it's where you want to be, you're where you're supposed to be. There's not design, your success
Right.
is not
If your needs are met, your needs are met. Everyone has their own goals. So it's not saying you're failing because you're not doing 37 closings a year or whatever.
Exactly. I'm looking at the gamut of all agents out there. Okay, whoops, wrong one. Let me go back. See, I start touching things, and that's what happened, Jessica. Okay, now we're going to bump up to thriving. Now, thriving is where people want to get very strategic in their business. They're asking the what and the where questions. What do I envision for my business? Where do I want to go? What do I want it to look like? If I'm looking at my life by design, what does it need to look like to get there? This is where they start to really employ coaches, right? Because coaches basically take what we call like a 30,000-foot view. They peek down in it and they go, gap, hole, gap, let's do this. And they start what I believe is blowing up your business in 2 very distinct ways. One, they're pointing out the errors in the business or the gaps in the business, and not errors and bad. Yeah, they're saying this needs to, if you want to go to the next level, this has got to be, we got to work on this part. By doing that, they also blow up the production in the business, meaning you start to see a higher level production. So MAPS coaching or coaching period, bold, bold completely stretches the way that you think about things and you never expand back. And that's where we find about 15% of our agent population stays. This is where they're starting to build the teams. They're starting to really envision what they want to be.
Well, and I think that's where they're really putting the business in the business financially with a P&L and a budget.
Right.
They know what their profit is. And to be real honest with us, most agents just cash flow through life. And cash flow their lifestyle through their business. But if I asked them today, year to date, what's your profit? They're like, I don't know, and yet until you get past kind of that surviving mentality of transaction to transaction, where it's almost like predictable, that's where that all happens.
You bet. And I believe this is also where they start thinking business-like versus buy and sell, like opening and closing doors for buyers and sellers.
Well, and the thing I'd add to that, Kimberly, is let's just say I only want to sell 24 homes a year. I want to do 2 deals a month. I want to have time for my family. I don't want to work to death. I don't want to work every weekend. And 24 is my goal. I could be in thriving because I could have just put more specific systems in place so it became more predictable than survival mode where I didn't quite have any of those systems in place. And that would be thriving.
Then that's perfect, because I will tell you, whenever I look at time versus money, I will trade money for time any day of the week. So I will get very strategic about how I'm running my world due to that piece there. Now, the next level is what we call succeeding. These are what we consider the empire builders. They're looking for the who's. Who do I need to be in business with? Who should I be hanging out with? You guys have heard of the sum of 5 people you hang out is generally, right? I learned that when I was in DC, when I first heard that concept, I was like, that doesn't seem so right. Yet I looked at the people that I was hanging out with, and sure enough, my income was about the same as all of theirs. And so I got very strategic on who I was going to put myself, whose world I was going to put myself in, insert myself, so that I wasn't the smartest person at the table, and I found other people. Now, I'm going to give you a good example of an agent that I coached in one of my offices that was in this mode right here between surviving and thriving. $10 million producer, doing it 2 or 3 years in a row on the ALC and what from the outside looked like a great business, right? Yet the agent walked into my office one time and said, "Hey, Kimberly, can we talk?" And I said, "Sure, come on in, sit down, let's just talk." And this agent says, "I'm going to quit the business." I was like, as soon as I was able to pick my jaw off the ground, I said, "Okay, tell me a little bit more." So I hired an admin and I fired the admin. I hired a coach, I fired the coach. I started a team, the team blew up. I hired another admin, she quit. "Kimberly, I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. I'm tired." And so I started asking questions. "How much money did you make? I know you like to travel with your kids. I know that you like to pick up your kids on a regular basis. Where are you going to make $200,000 and do all the things that you've done?" And this agent said, "I don't know." I said, "What if we got strategic and really got you purposeful in what is?" And what this agent was doing was bumping up and down. He'd hire an admin, get, a little bit of the thriving, and then that happened. And so he was bumping down this piece. And so it brings me to this next one. It's E to P.
That's
Now, guys,
such a
I
good
know
visual.
Yeah, I know you've seen E to P, and I know you heard of it. I want you to hear it in a little bit different way. Here's what was going on with that agent. He'd hit the wall, and he did it several times, and there was disappointment. Like, I guess I can't do this. Then there was resignation. I guess I'll always be this kind of agent. And then there was greener pastures. See, what was going on with that agent is then this E, he was allowing his ego to get in the way, that he knew it all and knew how to do it best. And what he wasn't doing was getting very purposeful in what he needed to do. Now, I love when people go, "I'm going to get purposeful." I'm like, okay, well, that's good. Yet you got to be also, there's 5 very key elements. Are you laser focused? Where are you going? Like physically, where are we going to go? What is the goal in mind? Then what are your strategic plans? Like what you're doing before down in this level over here is not going to work in this level up here. It's got to look different. Then why are we going to complain about the models and systems? We can do so much more in the models and systems than we can before. Matter of fact, there's a great, I'm going to add something to this slide for in the Millionaire Real Estate Investors that says that. And then accountability. Are you truly accountable? So that's where I believe we get a little bit different. So before I move on to the last slide, do you guys have any questions or comments or ahas about this?
Anyone in E to P where they're bashing their head a little?
I know, right?
You know, I would say that every time. Well, here's what you got to do. You got to plan on it. You got to plan for it. And I think that would be some advice I'd give all of us. You're doing great when you're bashing your head, because that means you're evolving and growing. And yet if you do it too many times, you get a headache. You get, disappointment, resignation. And so instead of bumping your head, I think it's really important to raise your hand and ask for help. And that's where a Kimberly or a Jessica, like I come into play and help you come up with a strategy around it so that you don't keep bumping your head. And yet you also want to plan on it. So for example, some of you are newer to the business and you might be grateful to take 1 or 2 listings a month consistently. And then all of a sudden you're taking 4 in a week and your whole plan just blew up. I'm looking at you, Juan, thinking of you, buddy.
I know.
Right? Because your bandwidth is only, so you have to work later? No. You just have to put a better system in place or some leverage in place or some automation in your business in place so that you can double up. And so you always want to be thinking that way. Now, I'm going to be really transparent. I'm stuck in our office at around 450 agents because I'm running our office like a 450 agent office. I need to be running our office like a 600 agent office. And then all of a sudden overnight we'll be at 600. It works like that. Same thing with you. If your systems allow you to go get 1 or 2 listings a month and you want 4, or all of a sudden you got 4, you're going to blow up your system. It's that simple.
Exactly. That is so true because, I mean, Jess, you and I both have experiences going from, a 100 agent office to a 400 and something agent office. There's levels where we would hit it and we had it when we finally recognized that we're like, oh, well, we got to look at people who are doing it that way. And so we were able to do that.
And you guys just had to make that pivot with virtual too. You just went from physically taking listings to now there's some efficiencies that came about, but it is different. It's just like with running an office.
Yeah, I agree with that. Such a good thing. All right. So here's where you guys will either ask me to come back or never come back. You're going to rate yourself right now. So do me a favor, get a pen and paper out because I'm going to ask you to give me your numbers. We're going to total them up at the end. So on mindset, where are you on mindset? 1 being, what is this mindset word she mentions? What is she talking about? 10 being you're waking up maybe with some affirmations. Maybe you listen to a podcast, maybe get some good music pumping in the morning. And you wake up saying, I will win today. Today is going to be a winning day. Where are you 1 to 10? Productivity. 1 is, yeah, I'm going to wake up at some point and I might work. Or 10 is, nope, there's a set schedule on how I'm waking up. I'm getting on the Mojo calls. I'm getting on James Shaw's calls. I've got a time block of how I'm working my business. The next one is money and net worth. Where are you in money and net worth? 1 would be, and I pray no one is there, I can't pay my bills this month. I don't know how I'm going to. And money and net worth for a 10 is, listen, I've either got the money I want or I am set on the path to get where I want to go. Now, moving from E to P, you guys had heard I'm a mother of 3 small kids, so I talk very childish sometimes. I think we use this E to P very willy-nilly. I think it's 3 very distinct things. Are you learning based? Are you willing to learn what you need to learn, and are you willing to do it over and over again till you get where you want to go? 2, are you coachable? Are you willing to hear what someone might have to say and then apply it to your business? And 3, are you willing to take your ego out of it so that you can get where you want to go? So that's E to P to me. And then the 5th one is willingness to be accountable. How willingness are you to be accountable? Are you a great accountable partner? Meaning if your accountability partner doesn't show up, do you call them on it? If you don't show up, do they call you on it? Do you give the true goals and then hear when they say things, or do you make excuses? So how willing are you to be accountable? All right, guys, take those numbers. Do me a favor. I want you to add them up. Where are you? What is your number? You can pop them on the chat, unmute yourself, throw them out. I'd love to hear it.
I am a whopping 37.
37. Go on. All right.
I'm 38. We're like we're in
38. There you
in
go.
tandem.
31.
31.
I'm a 30.
27, 30. Love it. Thank you, guys. All right, you guys ready? Here's the moment of truth. All right, now you get to grade yourself. 20 to 30 is an F. 31 to 35 is a D. 36 to 40 is a C. 41 to 45 is a B. And 45.
We're going to school today.
Mhm.
We got grades
I know,
today.
right? Well, here's the thing. My number was right at 39. And so when I looked down, I'm like, a C? Are you kidding me? Like, I thought I was winning. Yeah, my aha to this, one of my numbers was low.
Yeah.
And what I
Mhm.
recognize, the things that I might wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and can't go back to sleep is that one thing. So so there's 2 different things that you can do here. One is find that lowest number and bring it up. Or you can look at every piece of it and say, where is something small I can do to change my number? So if mindset's an issue right now, maybe you need to find something exciting to wake up to in the morning. You know, if it's productivity, maybe you need to say, I need to have either a morning routine, I need to have a time block calendar. You get what I'm saying? Like, you need to start, if it's money and net worth, where do you want to go? Do you have a plan to get there? My coach has me doing a really great exercise. I have several businesses that I'm starting right now. And she's like, well, how much money are we going to make? And I'm like, I just threw a number out there, one I want to hit. And she goes, okay, how are we going to do that? So I'm doing an exercise that's putting that number under each business so that I can be very purposeful and strategic on those businesses. So you can do a different piece there where you can kind of decide how you're going to move it up a little bit. And I love this exercise because I'm all about reality, right? I want to know where I am so that I know where I need to go. And so anyway, so that's that. Any ahas from this exercise?
A ton of ahas.
I've had
Where do I
several.
start?
I've had several. I'm like,
I was
oh
gonna
my
say, yeah,
God.
where do I start?
I need to take my own advice with my systems. That's what I'll be transparent on.
That's what it sounds like to me as well. It's like my productivity number is really low. It's because I think it's in my head, first of all, but I have to put it all on papers and systems, which I haven't done. So that's crushing me. And I need to get moving on that.
Well,
Well,
Juan, I'm going to just say one thing because I feel like I can for you. You are so good at thinking things up and you take action immediately and you put them in place, but you're a one-man band right now. And if you want leverage, no one's going to be able to read your mind. And if you don't leverage, you're going to plateau, and you're not a plateau kind of guy, are you?
No, think of it like a car that is accelerating, and I'm seeing, instead of accelerating, I am leveling off on speed, and it's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
And yeah, part of my challenge is get all my systems from here into a system.
Well,
And
you know
just-
what, Juan, just as an idea, who in this call right now would love to just hear what Juan does and kind of how he does it. Do you think
Yeah.
anyone would just sit with you for a day and with their computer just type it out for you while you're doing it and be like, why are you doing that? And how do you do this as you're doing it? Yeah, you got
it's
you got
funny.
people already volunteering, and you know what a great education that would be for them.
And it's kind of funny because I'm embarrassed to ask somebody to do that because it kind of feels awkward for me. You know?
Yeah,
It's
but
kinda-
people love to pick the brains of someone who's having massive success. They want to know what you're doing. That's what our culture is, right? And that's just sharing what we know.
Mhm.
And one, I don't know you very well, and the embarrassment is the ego. So let it go and let these. There's people that were literally doing this on the on the screen.
Like,
Ready to
pick me,
be a
I'll do
part
it,
of
I'll
this
do
stuff.
it, I'll do
I'm
it.
like, I don't know. I think we need to get them connected. All right, I
Yeah.
want to honor your time. Thank you so much for. I mean, I don't know where it is. If you'll do me a favor, I'm in the process of doing my master faculty.
Yes.
KennedyEval.com. My name's not in there, so you got to scroll down and type it in. And the name of the class is Agent Success Plan. Well, not class, whatever we just did. Now, if you did not like it, got nothing from it, find anybody else's name but mine and just click that.
Put Jeff Borum or something, right?
So anyways, yeah. You guys were a great crew. I trust you got something from this. Do you have any questions or any last thoughts? And then I will let Jessica take over.
You did a great job, and we all got something great. So thank you, Kimberly. I love seeing your face again, and you can join our Mojo any day.
You let me come in and I'll be there for you. You guys have a great day.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right.
Have a great one. Bye.
Take care.